welcome everyone. This is the March 18th, 2025 legislative meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Please let the record reflect that we have Commissioner Cuney joining us virtually, and then in the hearing room we have Commissioners Jordan, Waldrop, French, and Kearns. There was no written comment on our consent agenda, so those present, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, that will bring us to open public forum. So anybody wishing to participate in open public forum, please be ready to come on down, but we are going to start with William Hewlings, signed up ahead of time. So William, if you could please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Hewlings, and I live a few blocks from here downtown. So I normally go to the city council meetings religiously, and I speak there a lot. But one of the things I'm here for is because living downtown, as I walked out my door to come to this meeting, I mean, I know a lot of people see things differently than me, but there's homeless people. Now, it's very sad, obviously, that we have people that have nowhere to go. But now they are starting to show up downtown. And I don't have to really tell you where I live. It's been in the news. It's like a hot spot. Literally, there's people doing fentanyl, smoking meth. At all times in the night, I hear people screaming. I mean, it's just crazy downtown. And I go to city council, Kevin Hall, Lisa Brown. I mean, you guys all see, I'm a proud Republican, and it's disgusting. People I know don't even go downtown. And, that's my precinct. I'm also part of the Spokane GOP. And it's embarrassing. And I don't know if maybe you guys could help. I mean, because I've seen that they were talking about using the sheriffs for encampments and stuff. Something's got to be done. Like I spoke on the House Bill 1380, which they want to make, encampments allowable on public sidewalks. So that means downtown they could have encampments. And if anybody calls, or the SPD or whoever clears them out, they could sue the city. And so it's rather alarming what they're doing. And then they're using service providers like Jules, Helping Hands, sorry. And, there's been so much controversy with her since 2019, since I first started going and speaking at city council meetings. And something's got to be done. Obviously, the Democrats, and I'm just going to have to throw it out there like that, they just, you could just look at all the different cities, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, all these cities that are run by the Democrats have homeless problems. And like I said, I understand, I'm a veteran. There's a lot of homeless veterans out there. But not only, in other cities, like in Seattle, they have illegals, okay? I don't know what other word you want to call them, but they went to city council demanding better housing. And, because someone told them, Seattle, go to the Seattle City Council meeting and they'll give you whatever you want. And so that's kind of like our city, They have the Homeless Connect. They did just a few weeks ago. And, obviously, but anyways, that must be my time. So,
yep. Thank you very much. All right, is there anybody else wishing to participate in open public forum? Oh, yep, please come forward. If before you leave today, if you could fill out one of these slips. Oh, no problem.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you. I'm Wendy Fishburne, and I'm at 8712 East Red Oak Drive. I also never come down to the county commissioners meeting, so it's good to see you guys here. I came once before when Sheriff Knowles was, when you guys were deciding if you wanted to extend the no camping to the countywide. Commissioner Jordan, I just really appreciated that you read out the sheriff's directives and just really demonstrated the humanity of our law enforcement. That was really admirable and really valuable. Really what I'm here today is to say thank you. Hi, and thank you. I hear you guys trying hard to collaborate. It's been hard. I saw you both at the Homeless Coalition, and just the frustration of we're trying to work together. And I just really want to encourage that. Wherever you guys can, I'm trying as well. I'm often down at City Council, and we have issues where we disagree and we want to overcome, because the situation that we're all facing, I think, pretty globally in Spokane is fentanyl. Fentanyl has changed the game, which is tragic. So I just want to say thank you so much for, doing the stabilization program, partnering with the mayor and Betsy on that, and, wherever you guys find areas of collaboration, it's rough and it's so important. So thanks, appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. Anybody else? Second call for anybody wishing to participate in open public forum. Third and final call. Anybody online? No? Okay. We'll close open public forum, and I will look to my fellow commissioners for a motion on items 3, 4, and 5.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would move that we approve items 3, 4, and 5, and all the sub-items appearing thereunder in today's agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, that will bring us to a public hearing. This is to consider granting a franchise to Comcast Cable Communications Management LLC to construct, operate, and maintain a cable television system in, over, along, and under county roads, highways, and right-of-ways in Spokane County. And I believe we have queued up Mr. Brian Grogan for a presentation. You can take it away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Just quickly checking the audio. Is that acceptable? Can everyone hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Wonderful. Okay. I'll try to be brief today. I know we did go through this in a work session earlier this month. Again, considering a cable franchise grant to Comcast Communications. First, a little bit about the background. The industry is changing, of course. There are many companies that use the county's rights of way, gas, electric, water. Those are all regulated differently than a cable television provider. They're all regulated at the state level. There's typically a rate regulation component to it. A cable franchise is a non-exclusive contract that's granted either by the county or the city. It allows the company access to use the right-of-way for not just cable services, but for other legally authorized services. And in today's world, that often means broadband service. Many folks, in fact, focus on broadband as opposed to cable television and then stream their services through Netflix or Apple TV or whatever service provider they so choose. At some point, the state and the federal government will likely assess whether the county has authority to impose any regulatory fees or obligations on broadband providers. But today, it's limited strictly to cable television. We'll move to the next slide. The background of this particular proceeding, this franchise is actually quite old. It was first granted in 1991. It's over 30 years old. The franchise went through many extensions. Most recently, the county began working on this right around the COVID time period. Shortly thereafter, a company called TDS approached the county to get a competitive cable franchise, which the county spent some time working on, did in fact grant a franchise to TDS, and then used that franchise as the basis for its negotiations with Comcast. During this process, the county also opted to revise its right-of-way code provisions. That was found in Chapter 740, and those were adopted back in December of 2022 by the county board. And so those are in place now and will govern both TDS and Comcast and any other right-of-way providers seeking to utilize the right-of-way for communication services. Next slide. Key provisions of the contract that's before you today. It's a 10-year contract, which is fairly typical in the industry. Comcast has agreed to pay 5% of its gross revenues. I want to emphasize here that that's gross revenues from the provision of cable services. So this would not include revenue on non-cable services such as broadband, telephony, anything else that they may be able to legally provide over that same system. Contract has strong customer service provisions and right-of-way provisions that largely incorporate what the county has already adopted in Chapter 740 from that December 2022 action. Next slide. Other key provisions include some local channels for local content so that you can air meetings like what we're seeing today, the county board meeting. So you have a dedicated channel for government access, also a regional channel that carries information from the city government, and then a future channel reserved to the extent it may ever be needed by the county. All of these local channels, referred to as public educational or governmental channels, would be in high definition and standard definition so that your constituents can view it regardless of the household equipment that they have. An additional fee provision would be a 0.5% fee imposed on Comcast cable revenue, which ties out exactly to what the county has previously imposed on TDS. That's designated for PEG capital purposes, meaning buying equipment, facilities, things that are necessary for the production of this local community content. Next slide. Handful of other provisions. We have strong enforcement provisions in the contract with a $100,000 performance bond as well as a $50,000 security fund. In the unlikely event that the operator failed to comply with the document, the Comcast will also maintain connectivity to your your county public works facility, as well as complementary cable to 6 different locations. There are some applicable FCC regulations that come into play as far as the continuation of those complementary services, and we simply tied those provisions to the applicable federal regulations. So if those were to be amended or changed, those would flow with your contract as well. Next slide. So in conclusion, the recommendation tonight is to adopt the agreement that's before you, which would grant Comcast this cable television franchise for a period of 10 years. Comcast has already accepted and executed the document, so this would be the final necessary action to make it become effective. For purposes of any motion, the agreement is specifically referred to as the Spokane County, Washington Comcast Cable Communications Franchise Agreement. Because we can't make anything easy, we have to have a long title. So thank you, commissioners, for your time, and I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions? Nope, seeing no questions, okay. This is a public hearing, so anybody wishing to testify on item 6A, please come forward. Second call for anybody wishing to testify. Doesn't look like anybody online. Third and final call for anybody wishing to testify on public hearing item number 6A. Seeing no one wishing to testify, we'll close the public hearing, and I will look to my fellow commissioners for a motion.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would move that we approve the granting of a franchise to Comcast Cable Communications Management LLC to construct, operate, maintain a cable television system in, along, and under county roads, highways, and rights-of-way in Spokane County.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any final comments, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right, that does it for our printed agenda and our public hearing items. I will ask Commissioner CUNY, can we use your signature, or your stamp?
Yes.
Okay, all right, and then I will look down other end of the dais here. Mr. Simmons, Mr. Folsom?
One pending and potential litigation executive session item under RCW 4230-110. Should take about 15 minutes, no action. The board, Scott Simmons, Jasper Coulter, Kyle Tuig.
Okay. It is 2:16, so we will begin the executive session at 2:20. Just give folks an opportunity to clear the room. At the conclusion of the executive session, we will be adjourning for the day. So thank you all for coming to.
One
anything else?
more,
Oh.
Jeff McMorris.
Oh, and, okay. Jeff will also be joining us for the executive session. All right, thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you next week.